Howdy folks, my name is Howdy and you're watching Brickity Split, the show where we talk all things LEGO Star Wars. This will be my hardest ranking video yet, as we're taking a look at the best sets that the entire Republic has to offer. So to make things a little easier on myself, I laid out a few ground rules. Number 1, I won't be including sets that have an opposing separatist vehicle. So as good as something like the Ultimate Space Battle is, that doesn't count. Number 2, I can only include one set for each vehicle type, if that makes sense. For example, all the clone turbo tanks are fantastic, but I can only pick one for this video. And lastly, no UCS sets, because these three would easily sweep the top 3. Now that you guys get how this works, it's time to make a couple people unsubscribe with my honorable mention, and that sadly would be Anakin's Y-Wing Starfighter. Man, this one is so beloved. An undeniably great set that has stood the test of time, but I've always thought this received just a bit too much praise. Yeah, this set never really charmed me the same way as it did everybody else, but hey, don't let it get to you, bro. The next 10 sets are just a little bit more legendary. Still amazing, especially for 2009. Holy crap. Alright, getting started now with my number 10 pick. I had to put at least one battle pack in my list, so here we have the 501st battle pack. This was a really difficult toss-up between this and the original clone battle pack from 07, but ultimately I silenced my nostalgia and gave the edge over to these awesome builds and figs. I'm not a fan of the stud shooter replacing a proper cannon on the ATRT, but that's basically my only complaint. These builds are just both so solid, and minifigure wise, these are some of the last good clone helmets we got, and 3 identical clones in the same set is always a plus. Oddly enough though, I may have liked this set a little bit more if they ditched like the speeder and then gave those poor little battle droids a vehicle to fight back. You know, ironically, that would have disqualified the set from my list because half of it would be separatist, but I can't help but feel sorry for these poor little guys. And speaking of unfair fights, a lot of people call this the best battle pack, but it was also like the first super battle pack, so, and there's only one number 10 spot, sure, but in my heart of hearts, I know this is tied with the 07 battle pack. Oh, such beautiful sets, the both of them. At number 9 now, this is another set I have a lot of personal feelings for, very strong feelings I had to suppress in the name of objectivity. We have Anakin's custom Jedi Starfighter, the Azure Angel, and in case you're not caught up, you know,
on the lore, let me tell you about it.
This is the only LEGO Star Wars set that's based on the original Clone Wars series back in 2003, which is my favorite piece of Star Wars media, highly recommend. But of all the sets they could have made on the show, this is a great pick. This is my personal favorite LEGO Star Wars set of all time, and it was also my number 1 pick in my list of the best Jedi Starfighters. I'll put a link to that and, you know, up there or something. And I love all the Jedi Starfighters, especially the Delta 7, such a cool design, but none of them really did anything all that different until this one. I mean, if you just got home from the Jedi Bob fan club, you might look at this and say,
"Oh, you copied Jedi Bob Starfighter. Arrest that man."
But remember, we're talking 2003. This was the first to do the big engines on the front, those fins on the back, those big guns on the sides. For 40 bucks, you could argue it's overpriced, but I mean, this is just a Delta 7 with DLC. Look at how much extra sauce you get with this thing. Man, I love this set so much. I wanted to put this in like top 3, but I wanted to be fair to the sets that are actually, you know, probably better, but still easily ranking in the top 10 for me. I love this set. At number 8 now is a beauty of a set that I hear nothing about ever. This one kind of suffers from remake-itis, where it was remade a few years later and then completely forgotten, but we have the 2014 AT-AP Walker. This behemoth is coming in at 60 bucks and is packed full of awesome play features. It's got super sturdy and posable legs. That third leg can even fold back like up into its body, and there's this little like lever that you can fold down to keep it in place. So much play potential with this thing. I guess the only bummer about this set is that you only get one clone to man the vehicle, and maybe you can throw the Wookiee in there to help out too. Also, the first time we saw that wonderful Phase 2 Commander Gree, maybe my favorite clone trooper of all time, I don't know. Seems like a pretty cold take. I mean, look at him. I think the 2008 AT-AP was fantastic, and there wasn't a whole lot of room for improvement, but they improved. This one's incredible. And then in 2019, they made another one, but the hip joints for the legs are just set way too far back. But the 2014 model nailed it. I think this one's the best. Much like with a lot of sets from 2014, this one seems like pretty much perfect, like zero room for improvement. This was fantastic. If you don't think this was deserving of a spot on the list, I can't really blame you. It's just this thing has like no issues, aside from maybe the lack of more clone troopers, but that complaint can kind of be applied to any clone trooper set. So at number 7 now, another set I don't hear a whole lot about, but one I've always thought was awesome. We have the 2013 Jedi Defender Class Cruiser, and this is one of only 4 sets we got based on Knights of the Old Republic, so there is a little bit of a Legends material soft spot there, but I mean, for 90 bucks, this thing was a monster. This like hammerhead shaped cockpit had 2 panels that can lift up and reveal some nice interior. These 2 Coke can looking things on the sides are actually escape pods. A nice carrying handle here, actually. That was so smooth, I bet you guys didn't even see it. But yeah, those Technic pieces can be folded forward and used as a carrying handle for the whole thing. Even the landing gear could fold out of your way. Man, this was a spectacular set for play. Maybe for how big this thing is, you would want a little bit more interior space. I get that, but I just had to talk about how cool this set was. I mean, look at the figures. All the figures being exclusive, except for you. Hey, I still like you. It's okay. It's okay. I'll call you later. Man, if I ever make a list ranking the best minifigures of 2013, I'm pretty sure these 3 fellows are all going in the top 5. Holy crap. I feel like I've said everything that needs saying, man. A magnificent set from the golden era of LEGO Star Wars. At number 6 now, if this set caught me on the right day, it maybe could have snagged a number 5 or 4, even 3 spot on the list, but the set has been ruined just a tiny little bit by how many better mocks I've seen of it. But we have the legendary 2010 ARC 170. This thing is enormous, easily something LEGO would charge $90 for if it came out today. I'm trying to think of what to bring up first, but man, it's beautiful. I've just been staring at this for 5 hours now. Yeah, they did not know the meaning of the word compromise when they made this set. This was an improvement over the 2005 model in almost every way, and there's some room for debate in there. I feel like the 2005 got the nose angled perfectly, but there's like a hollow spot in the middle. This has no hollow spot, but it's missing that angle, looks a little more rounded. I really like the use of these like tire pieces for these engines. In universe, those engines are freaking huge, and that's not something that I feel has been captured recently, but came with 3 awesome minifigures: Kit Fisto, Captain Jag, and then a regular clone pilot to boot. These guys looked awesome. Also a sweet astromech droid to accompany the tail gunner back there. Man, this thing is one of the most imposing looking vehicles that the Republic has to offer. If I saw this flying towards me at the Battle of Coruscant, I would shit my pants. I suppose a factor of this set that may age it a bit is that these smaller wings that kind of create that X shape, they're controlled by a gear at the back of the set, and when you turn it, they'll kind of fold out, but it's very slow, and that whole mechanism is held together with these rubber bands, and those will definitely get less effective as this thing sits on a shelf or in a box. But yeah, no real complaints for this set. It is a masterpiece from 2010, and for only $60? Man, I wish I was collecting back then. Halfway through the list now at number 5, this is another one of my favorite sets of all time that I have yet to discuss on the channel so far, but we have a Titanic set from 2008, the V-19 Torrent, a badass name for a badass starfighter. $55 is all this cost. This thing is enormous. It's kind of like an Imperial Shuttle Tiderium turned upside down-ish. Like, oh my gosh, this thing is massive. It is so freaking cool. The way the landing gear works in the set is fascinating. That center wing there, it folds around to the top and takes the 2 other wings on the sides along with it by use of these like awesome Lego pistons, to where once it's landed, you just grab that middle fin and then the whole set just folds into place. It's hard to explain. I'll try to find video of it. I'll be sure to credit whoever it is. I don't own the set. I would love to. Oh my goodness, that's like one of my dream sets. It did only come with 1 clone pilot minifigure, so I guess you're losing some value there, but 9 times out of 10, I am all about the builds, and this is one for the history books, man. Right now, there's a rumor going around that we might be getting a remake of this one in 2025. I am stoked, but I'm trying not to be too stoked. You know, I could totally be let down. It could turn out to be something completely different, but even if it does get a remake this year, that's not holding a candle to the original. This thing is immaculate. Okay, at number 4, man, these are getting harder and harder to rank. Some of you may have put this next one higher. I debated putting it lower. It's that classic case of a near perfect build with a lot of baggage in the minifigure department, but we have the 2022 ATTE Walker. Now, you might be saying, hey, hold on a second. I thought you said there can't be any separatist builds in these sets. Now, that rule only applied to vehicles. You show me a little battle droid piloting this guy and I'll take it off the list, but for now, this is sitting pretty at number 4. The previous ATTE models got a lot of things wrong. They had plenty of ups and downs, but I think the 2022 model nails almost everything, while also being the smallest ATTE yet. I mean, at least the smallest play scale model. Oh, it's smaller than this, can you believe it? Lego shrinkflation is crazy. This thing had an abundance of easy to access interior and plenty of clones to play around in there. The problem, though, was the clones, unfortunately. When I first saw the set and I heard half the community bitching about these clones, I'm like, I don't know, they don't look so bad. And then I saw what we used to have, and then I watched Revenge of the Sith to see how accurate they were, and man, these were so good. And the longer I look at this, the more I dislike this. And it's a bummer too. The 2013 ATTE had 1 clone trooper. This one has 5, including the long-awaited Phase 2 Cody, which I think looks pretty good. He's actually putting those ridiculous helmet holes to use. Even if the visor piece itself is huge and outdated and it should look like this, but that's a topic for another time. All the play features here, from the cannons to the cockpit to the panels that can open up and reveal the interior, everything is so well thought out and sturdy. This thing is beautiful for display and a blast for play. I just love it. Cracking the top 3 now. If I didn't lose any subs when I said Anakin's Y-Wing wasn't going to make the cut, I probably will now. But at number 3, we have the Clone Turbo Tank from 2005. I know you and your grandma and your third cousin and your third cousin's dog, you guys are all probably thinking, dude, the 2010 model's way better. It's bigger, it's more modern. What are you talking about? And I didn't have this one when I was a kid or anything like that. There's no bias like that. I just genuinely like this one more. And sure, the 2010 model is a little prettier, a little beefier, but I think for play, the 05 model is your best bet. The driver at the front could sit cozy inside, or he could peek his head through to kind of look at the battle ahead of him. I think that's a super cool feature. These big panel pieces in the middle are held with this little latch piece at the top. You lift that up, fold everything down. Now you've got access into your like troop bay. You can hold all sorts of figures in there. It's got a bit of like an hourglass type figure, you know, by its skinny waist. You got some bombs stored in there. You've got a couple tailgates rail gunners that can fit in the back, along with that cannon on top that can spin around. You got this big watchtower thing that can poke out, and you can actually pull it up and then twist it to lock it in place so it doesn't fall back down. Now, before you tell me about how the 2010 model can do all that too, take a look at what a turbo tank looks like, right? And then look at this. I mean, everything up top looks so good, but it like skipped leg day, so to speak. Everything down there is so like spindly looking. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger when he won the first Mr. Olympia, and then give him skeleton legs. That's how this set looks to me. But this set actually has some proper like bulk to it to hold it together like the actual source material looks. And sure, the top half isn't quite as pretty as the 2010 model. You got some gaps here and there. But I mean, for play, I don't think you can beat this one. And just look at that speeder bike, dude. Fucker looks badass, don't he? This might be my favorite speeder bike design Lego's ever made. It's so freaking cool. You get that exclusive Kashyyyk Scout Trooper. There were also two versions of this set that came out back in the day. One with a light-up Mace Windu and one without. I believe the one without the light-up Mace Windu came with an extra clone. You also get a bit of battle droid opposition with a cannon and a smaller cannon. The longer I look at this thing, the more I understand how expensive this thing goes for nowadays, which is about... oh gosh. I think every clone turbo tank they've made has been great, but this one is my favorite, and thank you for listening to me plead my very long case about why I feel that way. Alright fellas, we've made it, the top two. I try my hardest to keep my videos from feeling, you know, very bland, very milquetoast, if you will, but I'm positive you've seen these next two top most people's lists. I just couldn't really rationalize putting them any lower, but still, maybe a bit of a hot take here. Not at first place, but at second place, we have the Republic dropship with AT-OT. I mean, this thing is incredible, everybody knows that. Now that being said, I've heard a shocking amount of people say like,
Oh, this is overrated. It's a 6 out of 10 at best.
and some of that probably comes from them being bored at seeing this level top a lot of people's lists, and I get that. But I mean, ask yourself, when do we see stuff like this? Yeah, never. I mean, these are two builds that would easily go for 150 each on their own, but meshed into one big, like, superset. And maybe if we saw these kinds of sets more often, this would be a little lower on the list, but man, the dropship is freaking huge, dude. I think the blue, white, and red on this ship is just such a magical combo. You get two sets of stickers to put on these front panels, either this badass Wampa or Murder. You could argue this dropship hasn't aged the best because of all the exposed Technic, I get that, but I think the part about this build that bothers me the most would be how the angle moving up the fuselage uses all of these curved pieces, and that just interrupts the otherwise very smooth shaping here. I think those two things make this one age a little bit, but I think what's aged worse would be the AT-OT. Still super cool. I love the front windscreens and how they all three come together to make one big windscreen. I think that's awesome. But I mean, looking at the build though, I see what they're going for, but the legs were kind of lacking in both posability and like structural integrity for like, you know, proper play. The legs were not very good, but it could fit lots of clone troopers and you got lots of guns. There's this ramp in the back that like folds down for your troopers to, you know, exit the vehicle and enter battle, but that ramp was not long enough at all. It was this horribly harsh angle that just looked like hell to climb up and down. And sure, some of that's pretty nitpicky, but here's the cool part. You may have seen this little like carrying handle type doodad in the middle here. Well, that dropship can actually grab onto that and lift it up, and then you can carry both of them together with just the dropship's carrying handle, and then you can fly into battle and deposit your AT-OT. Dude, it's so cool. It also came with 8, count them, 8 clone troopers. I don't know if we've ever seen that many clone troopers in a single set. That is awesome. And sure, for 250 bucks, maybe you'd want a campaign for like, you know, 12 clone troopers, 14 clone troopers. I don't know. Lego skimps out on minifigs a lot. I feel grateful enough with this. Chances are you've already heard half a dozen YouTubers talk about how great this set is, but I think there's one that's better. Here we are at the tippy top now. If the Republic dropship and AT-OT wasn't making it here, you guys probably expected this one too. So here it is, it's the Republic gunship. Guys, I tried. I really tried to not be boring and put something more interesting in the top 2, but no matter how I look at it, dude, this one's at the top. And I think every Republic gunship has been pretty great, but nothing beats this one for me. Call me a sucker for a good gunship, sure, but if this thing came out today, 0 complaints from me. Perhaps the only downside with this set, which doesn't really bother me too much, is that the 2008 and 2002 models that came before were arguably better for play. They just had a whole lot more features, but what this set lacks in features, it makes up for in just build quality. This thing looks and feels incredible. I mean, super sturdy build. It made great use of those bubble pieces for the cockpits. It made even better use of these bigger bubble pieces for these turrets. And this isn't a fault of the gunship itself, but it did only come with 2 clone troopers. So you're definitely going to want to fill out these seats with Anakin, Obi-Wan, Padme, maybe even purchase a battle pack alongside it. But man, everything in this set, the engines on top, the big wings, you got those sliding doors, the shaping of the fuselage, everything just looks so clean. Not a single part of this set has aged a day in my opinion. There's also this big back door that can drop down and reveal tons of space for this little speeder that comes with the set. and the speeder looks kind of dinky and stupid looking, but I mean, it's a free speeder, I'll take it, I guess. This is perhaps the closest LEGO Star Wars set we've gotten to like absolute perfection. For me, forget the super battle droids, give us 2 clone pilots and 2 more white clones, and then make the speeder look less stupid, and that would be a perfect 10 out of 10 set. And that is going to do it for my list. Picking only 10 of these wonderful sets to go on my list was really difficult, but I hope you enjoyed the rankings. I'm sure you agreed and disagreed with plenty. Be sure to let me know all about it in the comments. And if you guys want to see similar videos with Separatist sets, Rebellion sets, Imperial sets, let me know down there as well. And I really appreciate you stopping by today. If you liked what you saw, I'll be sure to throw a couple more videos up on the screen that you may enjoy. And feel free to stop by the Brickity Split Discord server. We got some fine folks in there, some nerdy chit chat, some LEGO talk. Feel free to come on by. But yeah, once again, I am Howdy. This has been Brickity Split. Thank you so much for watching. I love you, and take it easy.